Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Sonic 2006. Disclaimer, the next level starts with a cutscene, so I'm getting a few words in now. If there is any word I'd use to describe Kingdom Valley, it's excessive. It is easily the longest level in Sonic's story, with no repeating sections looking at you, Flamecore. But the first section was also the demo for the game, so it had probably the most attention lavished onto it. And it shows. In my humble opinion, it is the best designed part of the game. It really highlights what the entire affair could have been, given enough time.
You look like you're in a hurry.
So, what's going on?
Circumstances have changed. I need to rescue the princess.
Before we get to the gameplay, I'd like to clarify something. This level is absolutely dragged down by its length. Even the S rank takes about 10 minutes. This is a grueling gauntlet for a first timer, and a game over in a late section really smarts. Many people will have stopped playing here because it is simply exhausting. But with my level of skill and experience, man, this is a blast. Let's have some fun. This opening section always drags a little bit, and it's funny because the rails seem like they are like the secret route, but they're actually slower, just go through the middle. I'm trying to find a little bit of a use for the tornado attack because I rarely used it when I first played the game, just like trying it out a little bit. But it's actually quite fun. There is some nice use for it, mostly due to its gigantic area of effect. I'm going to show off all of these rainbow rings in the S-rank run, don't worry about it. So, this is where the real fun starts. We have been introduced to two of the gimmicks, which are just extensions of normal gimmicks, which is rail grinding and homing attacking, which is extremely fine by me. This one here is scripted to always destroy the bridge, which looks awesome. And the camera hints towards this one here, but I'm always trying to go up here instead, which seems like it should work, but it kind of does not, because you never are going to hit that one crab on the top. It's just around the corner, it's just never going to work. But it doesn't really matter, because this is way more fun anyway, using the lightspeed dash along those rings and then up here. It's great. A little bit of an error here, let the anti-gravity run out, but doesn't really matter. This is how you deal with crowds of enemies now. It only deals one homing attack's worth of damage, but generally that should be enough to clear out the rabble, and the rest can be taken care of with better methods. I'm missing something here. I'm just going to show it off real quick. This is a voice clip. If you go up earlier, then this is the one hint you get, but you are already going up, so it's a bit of a useless hint in my opinion. And it always took me quite a while to find this silver medal when I was first exploring the level, because again, there is no real reason to go up here. And the level is really complex, so it might not seem like it because it seems pretty straightforward so far, but I've been missing a lot of paths. This is why I'm deliberately going back to one right now to get another silver medal, which I missed before. And yeah, this is normal. This is just a very sticky situation. I mean, part of the wall, yes. So let's try this the real way up here. And I pressed the action button a little too early. This is the issue with the bounce attack. This is why I've called it kind of bad before. The bounce attack as an attack is great. That it's on the same button as the lightspeed dash, that's not great. But again, we're going to see the correct way to take this path in the S-rank run, or later, I forgot, because I did a lot of editing on this video. I did a lot of recording different paths because frankly, this part of the level deserves it. It's really good. Again, it is the best thing Sonic 06 has to offer. All of what I'm doing here right now is an absolute blast to play. It is so much fun. I can only emphasize this enough. If you are somewhat used to the game, then you will have a great time here. And then you have to get through the rest of the level, but details for later. A final secret back here. Very dense, very dense. And then we can get off to be carried to the next section of the level via Eagle Express. Wonderful. But before we do this, as I said, let's take a look at some of the other paths. Allow me a tangent. What actually is good level design in the context of a Sonic game? In my Mega Man videos that was a bit easier to answer. It's varied platforming with cleverly placed enemies, each section providing a mini puzzle which ideally can be tackled in many ways, making you feel clever for figuring out how to deal with each challenge, either with skill or by applying the correct weapon. However, even as far back as the first Sonic, enemy placement has never really mattered. I'd wager that 90% of them are only there for you to either roll through at full speed or force you to jump once in a while. And in the 3D games, they often serve as homing attack targets, mere stepping stones. Almost every time a Sonic game forces you into combat, it sucks. So does the ideal Sonic game not have enemies? No. But they have to serve what I would state is the main design ideal any Sonic game has. Spectacle. This is not a series about micro-puzzles. It is very much not about gameplay flow. The best Sonics have excellent flow, don't get me wrong, but it's not the main attraction. These games are set-piece games. As often as possible, the player should go, "Wow, that was awesome!" Why do you think this tangent is necessary? Well, the mission statement of this Let's Play was highlighting the good this game does. My thesis is that many of its parts feature excellent design. So I was asking myself, do I make it clear enough? Am I saying often enough, the way the enemies are placed here, that was good design? But I realized that's missing the point. Whenever I say, "Man, this looked awesome, right?" and I assure you it felt great to pull it off too, then this is good design. This is the game succeeding at everything it needs to. Tangent over. So as you could see, throughout all of this footage, we have not repeated a single section of the level. I mean, small parts, maybe. And there were various shortcuts we could take via the eagles, without the eagles, with light speed dashing, with homing attack chains. There is secrets to be found like this one, and then it links back to a path we've seen before. There is minor combat, which can usually be skipped, and if you want to, you can go back and explore, go down to a lower route, check out something you haven't seen yet, and with all of that, we will not even see everything the level has to offer. First of all, because of the length of the level, the S rank is not contained within this video. I'm going to make a separate one for that. Second of all, there are still some paths I haven't found. It sounds crazy because I'm pretty thorough usually, but there are sections of this level which I have not found out how to get to because I have not spent enough time there yet. And I've decided to not bother too much with that because, you know, at some point you might want to play it yourself. This here, for example, I think there is item boxes to the right, which it is not showing to me, but otherwise these enemies seem pointless. But there is a series of 3 item boxes I have not figured out how to get. But overall, I think this just speaks even more to the strength of the level itself, where I cannot make it clear enough how dense the content in this part of the game is. How much there is to see, how much there is to discover. And I think I'm doing it a service by explicitly not showing everything off. And yes, for all I'm talking about skill, keep in mind, I'm not perfect. And I want to highlight that as well. This has been a bit of a comedy of error as far as recordings go, but hey, you know what, that's also fun. Again, I also don't know why this invisible enemy is there. I've tried killing it before and it just got me killed, but it's something. It is there, and maybe the answer lies at the end of this path, but yeah. I mean, you still gotta say at some point Sonic 06 is Sonic 06, but on the other hand I didn't die, so that's great, isn't it? Let's continue with the second part of the level, where the quality takes a bit of a nosedive, which is due to one specific character we're going to see here. And it's not entirely his fault. The problem is more that this is the first time we see him. You might have noticed during the cutscene intro, which as usual I just skip over, Silver is now our ally. And Sonic doesn't know why, because there has been an entire story, 2 stories in fact, unfolding behind his back, and he will never inquire what is up. But that means that now silver is on our side and we're now playing as silver for the very first time, and many people who are following the stories in chronological order as they are unlocked will play as silver for the first time. So here's silver basics. You hold the right trigger and then you pick up everything that is a physical object around you, including enemy projectiles. That's nice. You can do stuff like this, but this is just pointless waiting around. You even have to only tap the button here. You can do stuff like this, again with the physics. This is completely intended by the game, by the way. You will get tutorialized in this in Silver Story, and I'm just doing it for fun because you can just easily float over there, which is also something Silver can do, which will get tutorialized in a second as well. You can do stuff like this. You know, Silver is just all about the physics. And in principle, it is very fun, because throwing stuff at enemies is great. Throwing back enemy projectiles on them, as we're going to do in a second, is also great. Destroying stuff with lots of physics flying around, it's fun. Fun as hell. And his meter works. That determines how many things you can pick up at once, and it determines how long you can float for. So that's great that this works and that it provides an adequate challenge. Like here, I cannot pick up too many more things while the meter is still drained. However, this is Sonic 06, and the physics don't quite work all the time, most of the time. And that means that Silver is pretty hamstrung to begin with. We're going to talk about this at length during his story, but this is one issue which you have here. You will not be used to Silver, and for example, how long you can extend his glides like this, which is an advanced technique for sure. It's not easy. It's not hard to pull off just tapping the button, but it's not clear that it does actually do something for you. But it does. It extends the glide by quite a lot, and there is lots of situation where you might just be wondering, what am I even going to do with this guy, because I've never played him. And I am unused to him right now, and then stuff like this happens where I send out the projectile and keep pressing the button again, catching it in mid-air before it reaches its intended target, which is funny as hell that this can happen, but that did get me hit. And this is also an experience that many players will have here with Silver the first time. He's completely unupgraded. That's also something that is a bit of an issue. And the level doesn't help because there is just spike balls coming out of nowhere here. It's great. They spawn on the ceiling. I think I look at them in the S rank run. But that's also fun, right? It's not great. And then this guy, I'm waiting for his arms to grow back, because then it's far easier to kill him. But yeah, no dice. Because of the physics, only the second one here actually hit. Fortunately, you can do this, which is not obvious. Once they're down, you can just instantly kill them. But it's actually hard to hit the weak point if you're just throwing stuff from ground level, because it will bounce off the hitbox of the body, which is invulnerable when the robot is lying on its back. It's not great. Stuff like this is fun and all, but it looks janky as hell because it's just boxes being copy-pasted, and you know, you really want the extension here, and then you have an extended fighting sequence that many people will get hit again and again here, and there is a lot of slowdown because a lot of stuff is flying around. Things don't quite work. You really need to be used to Silver, to utilize Silver in a way and not get frustrated by Silver. I'm doing my best here, but I'm by no means a good Silver player. There is lots of factors here. For example, something we're going to see in a second. I am throwing all of these bullets onto the box, because Silver throws stuff in the order he picked up objects, and that means that he picked up the bullets before the box, so he's throwing the bullets before the box, and they just impact the box then, because it's still a physics object. It's wonderful, it's not, it's dumb. Also something you don't know about, which will cost you time, which seems like it's just really annoying. You don't have to keep holding the button on these, just tap it once and then the entire thing happens on its own. Mercifully, that's it for Silver. This is a story thing. Like, it re-emphasizes that these two people are working together. It's not bad in general. The issue really is that there is no guarantee that the player will have ever touched Silver before. And then, yeah, stuff can just go wrong. Like here, for example. This is a really hard glide, and you might just think that, wow, this just doesn't work at all. What's going on with Silver? You might also be tempted to just skip the entire affair, but for once, they actually put an invisible wall there, forcing you, in their opinion, wow, actually you can just kill yourself by jumping off the eagle early, yeah, in their opinion, forcing you to do this section with Silver. It's not quite true, speedrunners do this with Sonic all the time, but you have to be a little bit more creative. Yeah, and you can't even skip stuff here. Yep, that was an actual game over during my test recording if you look at my live situation. Wow, awesome. But that's my fault in general, yes, but this just is an example of what can go wrong here because you're not yet used to silver, and how would you? So that's a bit of a bummer because it's a bad introduction to a character that can be a lot of fun to play as. It's just not that easy, and he has a much better introduction his own level. Set piece! Yeah, awesome. And stuff is breaking around us and we are entering a church through the stained glass window. Awesome stuff. It's really good. Generally, there are a lot of these small combat sections in the game, in this level, but I feel like they are actually not bad once you know how to do Sonic combat, and now we have his full arsenal. We even have the optional green tornado upgrade. And we know how the bounce bracelet works by now. We can use anti-gravity, so all of this is fine. It does take a little longer if you're only using homing attacks, but still then it's not that many enemies, so that's great. I think this is the appropriate length of a combat section. Most of the enemies are gone in one hit. You can go through here, by the way. I want to show off the intended route, which is both harder and more risky because those stairs collapse. But at least now I can do something with the invincibility, right? Yeah, well. But as you can see here, it's just like 3 enemies, 5 hits. Done. This is perfect. This is the amount of combat a Sonic game needs. You could argue that it doesn't need any combat, and you know, you are not wrong. But if you have to have combat, have it like this. And I mean, it's complex enough, in my opinion. I really do like what they did with these robots. As you can see, one of them I knocked over because the arms were gone. Then the next one I used anti-gravity because it still had an arm. So you have to choose which attack to use, which is the best one given a current situation. And then the combat is over and the next enemies are just homing attack targets, and that's fine, that's great. And then you use an enemy to physics destroy a window. Good stuff. Great stuff. If you're looking for the silver medals here, by the way, do not follow the boosters, because otherwise you will not be able to get off the boosters while right, and you will just zoom past this one. This section here is insanely dangerous and making it look easy, but rest assured there is no way I'm going to actually explore to the left how to get this item box. I don't know, I don't care. But it's really tough, and this cost me a few game overs, but especially as Shadow, because his homing attack is different. He plays pretty much the same section here, and actually the hard mode is even different here as well. So rest assured, believe me, it's tougher than it looks, but like the most of the level actually. And I can only just state this because I'm not making many mistakes, but I do remember making lots of mistakes when I first came here. This has cost me quite a few game overs the first time I played this game, and I did give up here at some point. My first playthrough ended in Kingdom Valley, and I think that this is not a unique experience because there is just a lot to this level. Like, we are maybe 2/3 of the way done at this point, and it's 10 minutes, and there is a mark speed section at the end, and it has all been unique content. But this, for example, you need to know that you have to delay your homing attack. If you just trust it too much, then you're going into the drink. And the light speed dash there is also not like free. I don't know about the flickering candles, by the way. I think this might be an emulator thing. The 2 floating rings on the ruin, I don't know, this might be just a game being weird thing. This stairs has also cost me quite a lot of lives, and this is why I'm so excessively terrified of them. Just never touching them more than I have to. You're going to see it here in a second. I'm tripping here, almost dying, almost dying. Getting the 1-up here is almost safer because it keeps you away from the stairs. This homing attack on this one here and then getting the rail kills people a lot as well. This is where the jank comes in. And now the level is completely linear, in case you haven't noticed it yet. This is why this part is much worse than the opening part. The entire game should be like the opening part. There can be linear segments, there can be kill rooms and so on, and mostly I think this level isn't bad. In the end it doesn't end up being bad. But man, the first part is so good. It is so good. And the rest just doesn't quite measure up. Did you notice that the door opened behind me? I could go through there right now. Did you also notice something? This is Silver talking. Silver should show up here. He does show up here. I don't know what causes him to not show up, but I've seen it. promise you, I have seen Silver show up here and take all of the projectiles of the enemies. Or maybe it's just in Shadow Story, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. You can kill these enemies, you can farm them for points if you want, but it's pointless. Just get on with your life. But the idea is that Silver stands here and protects you with his psychic powers, freezing the enemy projectiles. But it doesn't show up. I don't know. Maybe this is an emulator thing. But it should show up. It should show up. Trust me on this. Anyway, we finally reached the final part of the level, which is a mark speed section. Oh boy. I have to say this is probably the easiest and therefore the best mark speed section in the game. It's not free. I'm going to die here, but there is not going to be like an excessive death reel for you to marvel at the physics of the game. There are skipping ahead for one death here, which just was me being a little bit stupid in the wall running part. One more death later on because I'm taking a dumb risk to get the silver medal, but otherwise this is fine. It's not great, but it's definitely the best and most tolerable mark speed section game. This is you know, the death. It was really lucky that I could get it in the hurt animation. And that's already it. This is the winning run, and mostly what this section excels at is you just have to press left and right a little bit. You have to jump, but it's still pretty straightforward. Most of your deaths will come from the jumps, yes, obviously, but otherwise you can just enjoy the spectacle. And again, this is how the game should be. It should not be too hard to do these, but you should be going, wow, this looks amazing all the time. The gameplay should not distract you too much here from how insanely good the walls of water look. Like in an awesome way, not in a graphics way, you know, but still. This one is easy to miss, by the way. It's really easy to miss this final silver medal. But once you have reached this part, then the level is already over, basically. There is no more final obstacle like this blasted, non-working loop-de-loop in the end of Wave Ocean. This is the goal of the level, and we did it. We got through Kingdom Valley in 13 minutes. It's even relatively efficiently. Me playing, me knowing what to do. It's still too leisurely of a pace for the game, as you can probably tell from the score, which is not a unique experience at all. But overall, this was fun to record. I'm happy to report this. This was a fun level to do, and I was filled with trepidation before I started recording it. But really, I'm good enough at the game now that I can enjoy this, and I hope that more people try it and get good themselves and then enjoy themselves.
The engines are malfunctioning. And what's this? Stop all engines, now! Why is this happening? No! We're about to crash!
Elise! Wait. There's still a way to change this. If we return to an earlier point in time, we'll be able to save her.
I understand.
Chaos Control!
Silver! I can handle this myself. Besides, you got somewhere to go, right?
You!
I'll make sure to change Elisa's fate. And that, in turn, should change your future, too. Thank you, Silver.
Yeah. Just save her.
The less said about the minutiae of the plot, the better. Generally, we're experiencing this bizarre time travel trope that we went back in time to just before the thing we want to prevent, instead of giving us more, well, time. Of course, this means that while we're in the city, somewhere in the forest, Sonic is doing god-awful trials in order to unlock a grueling ordeal of a level that will end in total failure for him. Obviously, this means it's the perfect time to do some side quests. I hope I made my point about how the game can really shine clear and wasn't too preachy about it. If you liked it, let me know. Thanks for your attention.